Until during Christmas and the JJ Craig. And the Charlie Blue $99. 32 inch LCD TV $299. LG 42 inch HD $299.
Well, it sounds like somebody downstairs, neighbours, woke up a bit late. It's fairly early. It's not even 10 o'clock in the morning as I'm recording this, because I haven't slept. Why would you sleep? Sleep's for the weak. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Ugh. I've known people like that. I think I used to think that as well. When I was like 17, 18 and I was painting graffiti, I think I read it in like an interview with some street artist or something. And they were like, yeah, too much to do. I'll sleep when I'm dead. And I like held that as this mark of like, yeah, I'm a real artist. I don't need sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead, man. And then, you know, by the time I was 20, I was like, oh, I want to go to bed. You know, I'd still stay up ridiculous hours drawing and painting and masturbating and playing video games all at the same time. Multi-talented, or talented, as they say nowhere. But I hear the old whoever's currently living downstairs, it's an Airbnb, so whoever's staying there currently, I heard them rushing around. I think I heard the of their mobile telephone device setting off their alarm, and then it wasn't like time to get up. It was clothes, shoes, fuck, I get on my shoes. That's what it sounded like. From up here, from my throne, from my high castle, because I'm the man in the high castle. That's a fucking... That guy reference. Is it Philip K. Dick? Dick. Imagine that being his surname. Dick. Oi, Dick. Why? I've never understood why Dick is like a shorthand of the name Richard. You get like Richard, Rich, Rick, Dick. Like similar with like Bob is like short for Robert. What? And Bill. My dad's name was Bill, but his actual name was William. But for somehow Bill is sort of like William, Will. Fuck it, I'll just call you Bill. Fuck it, I'll call you Simon. Why not? Hi, what's your name? Simon. Well, my actual name's William, but, you know, you can just call me Simon for short. That doesn't make any fucking sense, you piece of shit. Fuck your mother. I assume old Mr. Man downstairs, maybe he had a bit too much of a skinful last night, what with the football results and all. I think he had people over and they were all yelling and chanting. Oh, it sounded like so much fun. I wish I could have joined in. I wish someone would have popped upstairs and knocked on my door and be like, hey, mate, we're watching the fucking game downstairs. Do you want to go and join in and have a beer or something? I'm not doing the voice. I'm not. I told myself I wasn't going to do the voice. But, of course... cannot even bring myself to pretend to care about that shit, about that absolute shitty fucking shit. You know, like live and let live, obviously, each to their own. Let people enjoy things. There's that, I think it's a meme or like a web sort of comic drawing or whatever of... I don't know, just someone going, stop liking what I don't like. Which I feel that from both sides of that comic. Like on the one side, because that comic was made to make fun of those sorts of people who you know, those sort of gatekeeping incels who are like, no, stop liking things that I don't like. This DC universe is shit. You should like Marvel. And absolutely fuck those people. Not specifically the DC Marvel fanboys, whoever, but just those sorts of people who are like, oh, that's shit. Why do you like that? That's fucking gay. Ooh. But at the same time, I'm absolutely on the opposite side of that as well. In terms of like, if you like football, fuck you. Boring. Fucking troglodyte of a person you are. But not my fans and followers, obviously. I don't mean you specifically. You're wonderful. You're an amazing, brilliant, well-rounded person with a lot of character, and everyone likes you. Your parents are proud of you. If you've got a partner, they're probably really, really glad to be with you. They tell their friends about you all the time. But, you know, everyone else can fuck themselves into oncoming traffic. Oh, I hope they all die in terrible traffic accidents. Oh, sorry. What I should say is, I hope they all die in fatal, immediately fatal traffic accidents. Oh, mercy. But for real, I cannot even begin to care about that shit. I wasn't gonna even bring it up. The guy rushing around downstairs reminded me how much I hate football. But you know, I have every now and again I'll have a funny intro ready for these podcasts. I'll plan it out. You know, the classic. Hey, that's my penis. Oh, Ewan, you're funny. Sometimes. I had one I thought would be funny to do for today, and then I didn't do it because I couldn't bring myself to care enough to even pretend to do that. So, okay, let's pretend now is the opening of the episode. It would have gone something like this. Oh, hey, haha, pizzow, pizzy wazow. Hi guys, it's your boy. As you know, I've been following the football quite perniciously. That's not even a word. I've been following it with my eyes glued to the screen, watching the game. I'm a fan of the old football. And what a result! Good grief! If you've not been following, it's the Euro Cup or something, I think. So basically, so England. That would have been my intro cut, obviously. See, and obviously I know my argument being I can't even pretend to care about it for long enough to do the intro, and then I just did it. So I don't mind doing it. So because there's always this is another internet webcomic meme thing of if you're doing something ironically, you're still doing the thing. So if I'm, you know, what's a good example? You know, if I pretend to like K-pop, then if I post randomly online something being like, oh, I love K-pop, here's my favourite, you know, BTS song or whatever. I think that's what they're called, BTS. Pretending I don't know. Most people would look at that and go, oh, Ewan likes BTS. When actually it's like, no, I'm pretending. I don't actually like them. I'm being ironic. Jesus, don't you know what irony is? Because maybe, yeah, I'm doing it ironically, but to everyone else, I'm just doing the thing. My friend Callie, she's a tattooist. She was in a magazine. She's been in a bunch of fucking... she was in one particular one. I bought it because I've got it somewhere. I'll have to whip it out like my penis. I painted over her photos in the magazine. It came out really well, actually. The paintings, they're quite cool. And maybe I'll show it next week or something. But then I happened to be one of the first people who bought that copy of the magazine online. So a bunch of the first people to order it got this like plastic mesh handbag thing. It was like a wire net plastic little purse thing that came with the magazine. Obviously it's, well, not obviously, but I guess it's mainly for girls. So I got that and I was like, oh, that's neat. So I took some photos with it. I had like my big baggy coat and baggy jeans and skate shoes and paint all over me. And I put like a sketchbook and pens and stuff in the bag and took a couple of pictures. And I tagged the magazine and I was like, hey, thanks to, was it Inked magazine or whatever, for this cool fucking gummy rubber plastic purse bag thing. It's really handy for carrying all my art materials when I'm out on the go and going to cafes to sit and draw and shit. Yeah, thank you to that. What a do. Obviously, I don't actually use it. Well, I say obviously, maybe it's not obvious. And it wasn't obvious. Because a lot of people were like, oh, hey, that's really cool. I'll have to get me. Like, people were legitimately interacting with it, unironically, being like, oh, wow, that's so cute and cool. Where did you get that? What? And I was like, no. You're not getting the joke. The joke is, of course I don't use that. But then it's not, of course. Like, why wouldn't I? Well, because it was this, like, baby pink plastic mesh fucking purse handbag thing. Of course I'm not using that to carry my fucking art materials in. Jesus. I was being ironic, god damn you. But everyone just thought I was just doing the thing. I was just showing off the fact that I use that bag thing. So you've got to be careful. So I could be ironic and, you know, pretend to like football. But then even I think my point being, even though I said I hate football too much to even pretend to like it, but then I pretended to like it anyway. I have to make sure you know. Obviously, everyone knows I don't like football, so no one would really take it seriously. But I have to make sure the irony is plainly obvious. Anyway, that was my intro. That was my fucking 10-minute intro to the hi everyone, what to do? Scooby-Doo. So for the last 7 weeks, podcast topics have been really fucking easy because I just pick a colour. Well, not even pick a colour, just go with the next colour in the spectrum. Google characters of that colour, and there you go. That's me sorted for that week's podcast. Nice and easy, brilliant. It's like every now and again with Butvember or something, if I manage to get sort of 2 or 3 or 4 butts drawn in a day, which I can do because, you know, there's a couple of new ones. I draw them pretty small, which I've said before because my reference is my phone, which is like this big, so I don't really draw them much bigger than that. I can draw, you know, I drew those within an hour, I probably. So I can get a few of those done in a day. So with Butvember, it's really nice sometimes, or those sorts of things, to know that for the next few days, I've got my Instagram posts sorted. Because sometimes I put a lot more effort than I should into thinking about, like, shit, what do I post? Do I have anything new to post? Can I come up with anything new to post on Instagram? But then in those instances, it's really nice and freeing to know for the next few days, I don't have to worry about it. I just upload one of the pictures I've got prepared already and I'm good to go. So in a similar vein, with the podcast, it was really nice to be like, I don't have to think of anything to do or draw. I just fucking do whatever. It's all good because I've got the colours, so it's fine. But now I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta think of shit to do again. I've got a few ideas of like themed podcasts, I guess. This isn't necessarily one of them. This is like a catch-up. A catch-up. I guess just show what I'm working on currently, what I've been working on. What I've beans on toast working on. This is part of my Zilla comic. This is I don't think it's the actual middle pages. It might be, but it's a double page spread of my Zilla comic, and I'm actually drawing it at big size. Normally, if I do a double page spread, I take one A4 page and I just draw it small and then blow it up or whatever, because fuck it. But then I was drawing the rough of this rat head, and I couldn't like make it small enough and then get the sizing of all of this. Do I have the roof? Yeah, so I was going to be this size, and I drew the rat head, and I was like, that's way too big. I can't get enough shit in here. Fuck it. I used bigger paper, which I got. So I got the bigger paper because of wanting to paint this. Well, I mean, I've shown this on Instagram already, but I'm pretty happy with it. I spent, not solid a couple of weeks, but I spent a couple of weeks doing that, one character at a time. And with every piece you do at any time ever, there's parts of it I don't like that I look at now and I'm like, ugh, should have changed that, done this different. But you've just got to say, it's done, fuck it. Yeah, if I was going to do it again, I'd change parts, but fuck it. This one's done, and I was worried about Carnage because he's quite difficult to do, because red's difficult to paint with. And it's really easy to just paint Venom, but red, there are differences in the designs. It's not just red Venom. He's very similar, but there are a lot of differences to it. So, and I realised by accident before, if you paint red Venom, it looks like red Venom, not Carnage. But I'm really happy with how the Carnage came out, especially that hand, man. I think I even said I was planning to film each character because I painted it one character at a time and then just left it for a bit, so it was pretty easy in that respect. And I was planning to film each character as I paint them and then build it up into this video of the whole piece coming together. But I was too depressed. I was too sad. I'm too sad. I can't do it. I was doing the Green Goblin because I was at the point of I need to get this commission done because it's for somebody. So just fucking sit down and do it. So I started getting the Green Goblin done, and I was like, I should be filming it, but fuck it, just fucking get it done, whatever. And when I came to do the Scorpion, I was in a bit of a better mood. I was having a better day. I've been not so great lately in my moods and such. I've been struggling here and there. But I was having a bit of a better day with Scorpion. I was really happy with how that all came out as well. No tail, but fuck it. Ooh, fuck it in the bar. And a Rhino, I was quite happy with that as well. So I could have filmed those, but I was like, if I've missed the main front and centre character already, it seems a bit pointless. And then I was in kind of a shitty mood. I say shitty mood. I was in a really fucking depressed state when it came to painting Venom. I just managed to get him done. And then Carnage, I was getting a bit better. So this whole piece was way up and down in terms of how I was feeling in and of myself. I'm really happy with Carnage. The Green Goblin, I'm mostly there's parts that I'm like, but as a whole, I'm happy with Green Goblin. Venom's face is cool. I like Carnage. Happy with Scorpion. Happy with Rhino. Mysterio's hand. I was really, really happy with that hand. Dr. Octopus. A lot of people seem to like this Dr. Octopus. I'm not too happy. I think the material on the arm, I fucked that up twice, and I had to repaint it twice, which really annoyed me. I was really happy with these tentacles. I thought that was really well done. Electro's just sort of squashed in there. I was gonna paint like a video game sprite of Sandman or Shocker or something here, Or even like a Lego Spider-Man villain. I thought that could have been really, really cool to do. But I didn't. But mainly because I really like this arm. Because I was just going to cover it up and be like, it'll be funny to have a funny little like Lego character on top here that looks like a sticker, but it's painted on. But I really like this arm and I didn't want to cover it up. So back in the 90s, I was in a very famous TV show. BoJack the Horseman. Don't act like you don't know. It arrived. It finally fucking arrived. And I couldn't be happier. BoJack, the art before the horse. That in itself is a really good example of like the show and the art. And part of what makes the show. Well, that like funny little wordplay and stuff, yeah. See, it's like putting the cart before the horse, which is a saying, but they've put the art before the horse, which is a funny play on words, but it also is literally the art that came before the horse. I've had a short flick through this. I even read parts of it. I know. It's a very, being that it's landscape, it can be quite an awkward one. I'm not sure how much of it you'll be able to see on the screen, but whatever. So yeah, I read parts of it primarily because I was interested in literally the history of how BoJack became BoJack, which this did show. Lisa Hannawalt, she was the designer. She's the original actual designer. And this was really interesting, which is something this shows, which most, there's a lot of like art of movie, art of TV show books out there. But very few of them really show the actual like genesis, the original origin of where the show, the movie, the character came from. This book does it really, really well. There's introductions. Raphael Bob Waxberg, that's the writer, the creator of the show. Because Lisa Hannawalt, I don't know, Lisa, her artwork was originally used as in the pitch for the show, because she drew all this weird animal shit anyway. And this guy, they went to school together, those Lisa and Raphael. They were in drama classes and productions and stuff together. They made comics together. And then he went to LA and pitched TV shows, came up with this idea based on comics they used to make. And she was like, yeah, sure, here's some artwork. And they pitched it and it became BoJack. Which I found out just from reading this, which is really, really cool. So these are some of Lisa's. She was a horse girl, obviously. A fucking weird horse girl. These are some of her old notebooks and sketches, always drawing horses and shit. Oh, excuse me. That's her and horses. She likes horses, like, you get the idea. That one's got a pink. That's basically just BoJack. That's quite cool. So these are some of her comics she used to make. I guess like high school, college sort of age. She's got quite a cool sort of indie zine, sort of not outlaw comics, but like beheading someone and wearing the head as a hat. That's cool. And yeah, so she made zines. She made loads of her own zines and stuff. Stay Away from Other People by Lisa Hannawalt. And this is, fucking years and years, decades before BoJack was even conceived as an idea. And look, people with horse head and animal heads, all... I feel like almost all of these characters appear in one way or another in the show BoJack the Horseman. BoJack Horseman. Bug people and stuff. So she was drawing all this shit anyway, which is really cool to see. Shit like this, and it's noted that like all the details in like the patterns and stuff she drew in clothes and carpets and wallpaper and stuff, that in part was used in the show. I love this, man. It's not necessarily to my tastes visually. I don't know. I don't hate the visuals. They're just sort of, they're really good drawings. You know, they're not mind-blowingly quality drawings, but they're fun and interesting. They're well drawn. I don't know. Maybe that's partly why I like them, is because they're sort of off a little bit. I don't even know what I'm saying. I haven't slept. Oh, but yeah, so she was drawing all this shit anyway. That's her and him. They're just friends from school, college, whatever. And this is a comic they made together based on him. I guess he wrote it, she drew it. And they explain here how a lot of what happens in this comic, based on this guy's own like neuroses and stuff, can be linked to BoJack in terms of how he interacts with people and how he feels about himself and stuff, and cotton candy incidents. So there's a lot of like the building blocks that would go into BoJack were being generated around this time, but like they had no idea. They could not have had any idea that they would eventually become BoJack Horseman. So it's really cool to see this, that it's not just a comedian writing a TV show, taking it to an animation studio, and then making one of the fucking ugliest adult cartoons you've ever seen. Big mouth. It's two people who grew up together, basically creating shit, making comics and zines and stuff. They have a history of making stuff together. And then, you know, they go their separate ways. They get jobs doing what they do. And then they, you know, through emails and stuff later on, they come together and create I endorse He Horse. I love She Moose. Those are really cool. They're really cool drawings. They're cool pages to have in a zine. Especially all the background shit. Like, I get so intimidated when it comes to doing background shit because I'm like, I don't want the details to get lost or the main thing to get lost in the details of them. So I just scribble and go, oh, that's a background. But that's really, really cool shit, man. So I'm really glad this book has a lot of her previous work in it, because you can absolutely see, like, oh shit, of course. Oh, there is a really cool one here, actually. I think this is like an essay she had to write about herself. I'm also wild about art. I want to be famous for drawing horses someday. And the teacher wrote, what a wonderful goal. She grew up to be the designer and primary artist behind BoJack Horseman. So that's so fucking cool. That she wanted to be famous for drawing horses, and she, you know, she was not famous for drawing horses, but she designed BoJack Horseman, which, you know, if you've not watched BoJack Horseman, fine, but it's a powerful fucking show, and it's one of those shows where, like, if you watch the first season, it's like, oh, okay, I guess it's funny here and there. But then you continue to watch it, and it gets fucking wild. I love how it's written. Some of the visual gags are brilliant. Some of the written gags are brilliant. The visual gags especially. There's a lot of visual gags in BoJack. Some of the early designs. Princess Carolyn. Again, these old drawings that had no correlation to what is now BoJack, but you can absolutely see, like, these characters would almost grow up to be the characters you see in BoJack Horseman. Early designs with, like, Bill Cosby sweaters. Obviously, you want to steer clear of that sort of thing now, because he's a big fat rapist. Ooh. I love that. I remember seeing this book in a store and taking a picture of this to use as like a reaction image, but then I think that's when my phone died and I needed to get a new one, so I lost it. Disgust. That's really, really funny. Does that show in the... Yeah, it does. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's really cool to see all these concept drawings done by Lisa, her designs for Diane. They explain as well how it's really hard to design the human characters in BoJack, because the animal characters, you know, you get a few designs, but ultimately it's a guy with a horse head. You can change colours and clothes, but that's pretty much it. But then when it comes to like design Diane, oh, she's like half Asian, half American, and what kind of hairstyle does she have? What kind of clothes does she wear? You know, all these different styles. It makes complete sense that it's so much harder to design human characters than the animal ones. With all these different design processes. Mr. Peanut Butter. Doggy, what now? Yeah, I really love the show. Visually, it borders on ugly, the show, because the animation style itself isn't particularly interesting, because it's mostly done, I believe, in flash animation, which I learned in this book. So it can seem stiff here and there. It's not too fluid, but especially when you see where it came from to where it's going. Early designs for Todd. Apparently this was one of the hardest characters for her to create. To get the exact look. Because, yeah, it's like hippie or more surfer dude. And I think this was like the original one they used in like the pilot. But then they changed it. Because they thought he was just ugly. Which I guess he kind of is. It's not nice to say, but that was gonna be what Todd looked like. That's pretty funny. But yeah, this book's really cool because it's got loads of these like notes and script bits and stuff. Other characters. It's a fun world they create, and you know, like there's that episode where he's underwater, and they created this whole other like underwater world with their own fucking like language and customs and stuff. And a lot of, like I say, a lot of these art books, like art of film, television show, whatever, they show a bunch of concept work and maybe some scripts and stuff, and then there's loads of pages of just like this, of just screenshots and this and this, or like the backgrounds without the characters in. But they feel kind of weak because they're taken up with a lot of this sort of stuff. But this book's really, really cool because there's so much, like there's a huge portion of just the designer's, you know, artwork from years and years ago that would, you know, feed into the designs for the show. I love that. An anteater eating an fish man with a hook in his mouth. That's some like ancient allegory of pulling the thorn out of the lion's paw or something. So that's really funny. That sort of stuff that they put in the show. I really, really like that. The end of the wold is coming. The end is sheer. Those visual funnies, man. The show's full of them. I really like that. There's one thing in here that I really want to get to. I think we're getting close to it. It's cool to see these behind the scenes shots as well of them actually working on the show. That's how they sort of lay out the episode scene by scene on post-it notes. It's cool to see. Laying out the acts. This stuff's really cool to see because you know, this is so behind the scenes. So it's really cool to see the people at work creating the show as opposed to just here's some concept work, here's the backgrounds, here's the characters. You see bits of scripts and notes and stuff. It's a really, really cool book. Yeah, all right, scripts, we get it. Design notes. Her tits are wonky. They say that like the hand-drawn, inspired by reality aesthetic of Lisa's production designs extends to the carefully executed asymmetry of Tina the bear nurse's bosom. Like that was a conscious decision to make her tits wonky. Which is cool. It's good to see. It's an attention to detail. Brilliant. Those are just cool drawings, man. I just saw this. Okay, this blew me the fuck away. Below, called Crayon People in the production. These low detail, small, colourful extras are the type of designs that are seen on screen in the distant background, often on a city street, for example. And they're just like, yeah, some of them are literally just outlines with a single colour, or, you know, or people, animal, creatures, whatever, with minimal detail, just to give the impression of a person, an animal, a creature, a being or whatever, that you'd make up with crowds, like just drawing, you know, silhouettes for a crowd scene or whatever. I say so often, all the time, almost every comic I look through, one of my favourite things, especially in painted comics, is the little people. When you draw or paint just tiny little people in crowds with just a few blobs of paint, just enough shape to give an impression of the character, it's one of my favourite things, because there's just something about it that, like, those tiny little characters have so much character, but still, you know, even though they're so tiny, that's what that is. That's fucking what that is. Called Crayon People in the production. Now, I googled Crayon People in a variety of different ways and means. Couldn't find no information on it. So I don't know. I assume that's a term they coined for, you know, their production. Call them Crayon People, because of course you type in crayon, and it's just fucking Crayola crayons, crayon this, crayon that, artwork created with crayons, kids with crayons, crayons for kids, just all this shit about crayons. And even I typed it in quotation marks, I typed it with other words, without other, in different, and there was no information at all that I could find through pages and pages of Google for the use of these Crayon People, which is it's annoying, because I would love to find a more definitive term of these sorts of, you know, low resolution crowd characters or whatever. I'm even thinking about putting together a tiny little video. It would only be a short video of, you know, maybe 5 minutes or so of Crayon People, of this term used, and then show examples from a bunch of my own comics and other comics I've seen of mostly hand-painted comics with these little crayon people. So I was so, like, because I saw this page, and this reminded me of, like, Jet Set Radio Future. I used to draw all, like, the background characters, because I realised there was, like, a few models of background characters, and then each model had a few different skins that you'd see around. So I'd draw each individual model with each individual skin, and I'd have, like this, layouts of all these different background characters that were, you know, like low resolution, low poly, low design, just to fill up the world. I've always loved that sort of thing. So this page, when I turned to it, reminded me of that. So I saw this and I was like, oh, what's that? Read the caption and I was like, oh, fuck. That's the little painted people I see in comics all the time that I constantly go on and on about. And this, I was so ready for them to officially be called Crayon People. But again, I couldn't find any info on that, so I can't really say they are in the business called Crayon People, because it seems as though it's just this, production team that coined that phrase. But yeah, that, like, the whole book's cool, obviously, all the artwork in it. But that's what it's all about for me. That one part of that one page. But yeah, BoJack's great. It's creative and funny and fun, and deep and philosophical and existential and just depressing at times, which all adds to the charm. The fact that it, you know, when you first sit down to watch BoJack, you're like, what am I watching? This weird show with fucking these cartoon animal people? What? But then you give it some time and it drags you in, and then it drags you down. This is really cool to see as well. So I guess they have someone who designs props And since it's mostly animated through Flash and it's all animated in computers rather than hand drawn, they design all these props that you can, I guess, just copy and paste into scenes, which makes complete sense. So then the person who designed all these props did all the design for the underwater episode with all the font and stuff, like all the different font choices. And then this is like the text that they even say they don't want to make it Japanese because then they might be in danger of saying this is how Japanese people act, and you leave yourself open to have people comment on stuff saying you're making generalizations or stereotypes or whatever. So it's a nod to certain aspects of Japanese culture, like the advert for the milk or whatever. But ultimately, it's just its own underwater world within the world of BoJack Horseman, which is really, really cool. It's good design choices and stuff, and really does help build the world of BoJack the Horseman, which is really, 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 really cool. And it does have different sort of art and animation styles within the show of these bits, so it's cool that they point them out, mentioning them here and there. And when BoJack's tripping on all kinds of drugs. Animatics and storyboards. It's a really, really good book, really thorough. There's a lot of background stuff. I know those, I think, were used in Tuca and Bertie, which I've seen 2 episodes of. The plant-headed people. It's quite cool. One of my favourite things, which they do mention in this book somewhere, I can't remember where, is all the tongue twisters they give to Princess Carolyn. Which I can never, ever think about in my head enough to bring up an example, because they're so well written. But if you've seen the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a really, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's the best show ever. You've got to, if you haven't seen BoJack, what the fuck are you doing? You got to fucking watch it. It's a really well made, well written show, and the art style of the show doesn't jump out at me as anything great, but it's more for me about the design that's gone into it, because that it's okay, it does the job, and you can animate it and make it do stuff in order to tell a story, which is cool, whatever. But for me, it's more about the design and the thought that's gone into creating the show. And the story it tells is, all these background paintings and stuff that I love that. Captain Nemo and Moby Dick. And so all this stuff is these are background props that are in the show for seconds at a time. But people took the time to actually sit and draw them and everything. That's really, really cool. That's the whole team in the Todd hoodie and hat. Yeah, man. Good shit, man. Crayon people, man. Fuck yeah. And so now I'm working on this thing again. It's been a while. If you're watching this on Patreon, you've probably seen the last couple of pages I did that I uploaded, which are these. Oh, let me grab them all while they're in a pile. These two. This is the flashback scene. I mean, whatever. Explosion, oh no, mass exodus. You won't believe what this mouse can. Wow. It started with trash cans being ransacked, all the lost pets, and then the livestock being mauled and bitten. And then for a while it was quiet until bumhole. Explosions, carnage, streets and chaos, a tail, a foot, claws, screaming mouse face, pigeon. One lovely person I showed these to pointed out something that I'm really glad about, which is they like my names of shops. So that one, it says Enos, clearly it's penis, phones and such, shoppity shop. I would say shoppity shop. Fart cucks instead of Starbucks. And that says blopen, and that says oh no pun. See, because it's oh no, because he's running away because there's shit going down. So it says oh no pun. Oh, I'm clever. And then shouty face. It's a giant rat mouse with an ear on its butt. Oh my god. Really happy with these buildings. Really happy with the trampoline in the back garden. And the train, it says train on the front, just in case you can't see it's a train. And the people on the train are like, oh shit, what the fuck's that, with the eye? And then that's a take on the classic Godzilla eating the train image, the imagery of that from the original Godzilla. Which, that was taken from the original comic that I made. So I wanted to make sure I got that in there. And then the laboratory. Look at the little car, isn't that cute? And this guy's like, this is all my fault. And he's like, oh yeah, how did that go again? And he's like, well, blah, 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 blah. And then this is all text. I put that in on Photoshop. It's up there on my Patreon. You can see it there. And then blah, 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 blah. Nuclear or radioactive chamber exploded. The mouse with the ear on its back was missing. And the rest speaks for itself. And this is like the cage with the mouse with its wheel and its water bottle, and it's gotten out. Oh no. And look in the background, while he's talking out the window, you can see a funny cartoon mousy mouse. Oh, and now I have to stop this. This shop's called Chairs, just Chairs. And it's a cafe with a little penis drawn on it. And that says knob. I like this car as well. I found I really rather enjoy drawing stuff on the ground. Like, I love drawing tables with stuff on. Like in my old dungeon drawings, one of my favourite things to draw was just random wooden tables with stuff like books and papers and skulls and knives and things on them. Just things with things on. I really quite enjoy drawing rubble and just stuff on the floor. This somewhat here. The car there, that's quite a good example. Stuff here is an okay example. Stuff, rubble and stuff on the ground. This car on its side, that's quite good. Here and here, exploded people. Little bits of litter and stuff. I like drawing that. Like, yeah, cigarette butts and paper and just things, cans and shit on the floor. It's just something I've discovered I quite like drawing, just stuff on the floor. And that's something you see in comics quite often. If it's like a street scene or even just a room, if it's just an empty floor with no texture to it, it looks so sparse. It just looks empty. There's something about it that looks empty. Even if you just put a few dots just to show that there's some kind of like grit or texture on the floor. But I'd really love to just put like fallen papers, stones and whatever. I try to make it relevant to the space. But put some mess in everywhere. Even if it's like someone's room, just put loads of mess on the floor in the room. It's just good to have that little bit of texture. I don't do it all the time, but it's something I try to be mindful of. Here I try to add in grass and flowers and stuff here and there as much as I can. And then this is the next page. So he's gone, now I have to stop this. And so he's like standing like a fucking Western film. The rat in the background, him in the foreground with the sun making a shadow with his lab coat blowing in the wind. And then the rat fucking screams. These buildings, I'm a bit iffy about these buildings, about how clear it is that they're buildings being shouted to pieces, but whatever. I think you get the idea. He's shouting the buildings to pieces. And then the scientist guy is like, oh, fuck no. And there's rubble and him, and then rubble on him with his legs. And I quite like this. I'm quite happy with this. Like, And so he's dead, and then it goes into the next page. It might be fun to look at least for maybe I won't do all of it, because I've already done this with, I guess, these first few pages. But that's, yeah, so I already had that sort of that Godzilla reference, and you know, this whole comic is a Godzilla reference, really. I almost prefer this one. I should have maybe just traced it and just drawn it a bit clearer. I think this is almost too cartoony. But this, especially the pose, references the original Godzilla a little bit closer. Not to say this is clearly a better drawing than this. It clearly is, but I don't know, there's something about this I prefer. Maybe it is like, it's a little less cartoony here than is it, but whatever. Certainly the drawings of the people, Jesus Christ. Can you even believe how bad these drawings are? Fucking look at that. What's all this shit? So yeah, safe to say I've gotten... I was really happy with this drawing here. This one's pretty cool too, but especially this one. So they've got the windows in the background and they're like backlit a little bit, so that's the same. And the space for the text. And in this you can hardly tell what's going on. It's supposed to be like, yeah, a radiation chamber exploded, the cage on the floor, and then that's supposed to be him, like with his scratching his head going, oh no, it looks like he's masturbating. I don't know. And then the mouse with the ear on its back was missing, and the rest speaks for itself. More sort of emotional and tense with the shadow and everything was missing, and the rest speaks for itself. A slight tone change. And then I basically just copied this panel again, but fuck it. And I made it scratchy because I'm trying to do this quick because it's all ballpoint pen, so it's not supposed to be too pristine. But even then, compared, like, those two panels, that's a hell of a change, man. 10 years from that to that. I'm happy with that. There's certain drawings I did where I'm like, you know, like that other one of it, the fuck it eating the train. I'm like, fuck, I should have kept some of this. That should have been fucking burned because that sucks. And then I have to stop this with him in the doorway with his shadow coming out. It's not that great. It's not that impactful. It's not that clear. This isn't perfectly drawn in terms of perspective, but it's fucking far better than this shit. And then there's this. I thought it didn't really make sense for them to be like this, like right close to each other, because he'd just eat him or something. So I put him behind a bunch of buildings. And, you know, you get the scale with him in the foreground and him in the background with some mid-ground separating them, the tail and everything. I'm really happy with that panel. Maybe I'll upload it to Instagram, I don't know. And then there's that, which we're recreating now. Basically the same. Shouty rat face. Roar! I should draw some helicopters in the background. And then, so shouting the buildings down. And then, so I drew what's supposed to be the scientist. You can't tell because I can't stay consistent back then with people. Him just looking up all scared, ... And then suddenly the army are involved. So you never actually see him die, which is like, you should see him fucking die. Jesus, I'm going to have a drink. Oh, delicious. So it's far better this way to have this, because you've still got his shocked face, which again, a million times better. Maybe I'll put in some of these like anime impact lines in the corners, and then you do actually see him get fucking smushed by a chimney stack or something. Yeah, the buildings, it's a difficult one. I think I can add in some white here and there to maybe make the buildings stand out a bit. Maybe do windows in this one. I don't know. I'll get some lines and shit coming out. These impact lines here. And dust clouds or something as well. I saw that in it might have been an Art Adams piece, like an Ultraman drawing or something, where it was like a kaiju in a city and there was dust clouds around its feet, and I was like, fuck, that makes so much sense to have like clouds of dust, which was I guess I almost put some of that in, but yeah, so I've done more of that in a few pages. But I'm really happy with how it's going so far. The next pages are the army ones, and then this page, and then I get to do this. All I'm going to do is redo the text, but I'm really happy with that. That'll be funny. And then I've got a much better idea for this, because now Stan Lee's dead. It doesn't make sense for him to be calling Stan Lee. So I'm going to have him calling Mickey Mouse. Shh. So that's cool. I'll figure out the text and stuff and make that better. This will take a bit of research. I might literally just find some screen grabs from like Full Metal Jacket and stuff and just copy them, because fuck it, why not? Movie references, people dig that shit. And in this I need to work out a bit. But yeah, those 2 pages will come out well. But for now, we're working on this double page spread. It's going good so far. I'm happy with it. Yeah, this comic's it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be good. It will be good, I promise. And of course, I'll send a copy to Cartoonist Kayfabe. They liked Gun Viking. I forgot the name of my fucking comic then. Hopefully they'll like this too. Well, not hopefully, you know, if they either do or they don't. Doesn't really affect anything. Although I got a couple of emails from people saying, oh hey, I saw your book on Cartoonist Kayfabe, really liked it, checked out your website, but I was sad to see it sold out. And I was like, hey, I'll let you know if I do reprints and stuff and whatever. So that was really cool. So, yeah, I mean, Cartoonist Kayfabe mentioning my comic and showing it off, it's done something, even if it's small. Someone somewhere noticed it and went, hey, that looks cool, I'll buy a copy. And then was disappointed when they couldn't. And that's what I like to do, is to disappoint everyone. Just like my parents. No, I think my parents are... Well, I think my mum's glad that I'm like drawing for a living. I think she just would prefer I draw something nice and fucking whatever. Hey! Speaking of Gun Viking, I don't know how much I've mentioned in terms of my plans going forward. I do have the entire next book, like full, 4 chapters, 100 or so pages book, planned out in my head. Like the whole story, the whole next story arc, potentially closing the story as well. Because this one, it's sort of not necessarily open-ended. There is kind of a definitive end to the book, with him sitting on the throne and whatever. But there's no real closure there. It's just sort of that happens, and then you are left kind of like, well, now what? And there is a now what. So I do have all that planned out. I was coming up with all of it. I had parts of it planned out ages and ages and ages and ages ago. But in terms of the full story, a while ago I couldn't sleep, and I was just thinking up the whole of the next fucking chapters and chapters of Gun Viking. Or could I not sleep because I was just staying up thinking about fucking Gun Viking? I don't know how much I want to, because I want to say, like, so this is part of what's going to happen and this is, but I don't want to like give shit away. So he's going to. There'll be a period of time in between this book and the next book, and during that time, he's gonna be thinking things through, and it's gonna come to the point of trying to, realizing he's come from this place and he's arrived at this other place, but then he's going to think back and be like, well, what happened? Like, there was this fucking tree with this guy in it, and that somehow gave me this power to become this guy, but like, what of the tree? He's not seen it since he was a kid. Is it still there? So he makes like a pilgrimage to try to find the tree, to track it down. And maybe he does, maybe he does. He does, he finds it. Or I think there might be like, he might have some help and some people point him in the direction, and then he does find it. I don't want to give too much away. I want to tell the story because I'm really happy with the story, and I want to sort of like, share this thing. And it might not be fucking until deep into next year that I even start the next chapter of Gun Viking. So it might be worth me just telling it anyway. But I don't want to give any spoilers. Fuck it. Right, so Gun Viking, he finds the tree. There's going to be a cult that have... so all of the trees around that tree will be dead, but that tree will be alive in like a circle of live grass with everything around it being dead. And because there was that body hanging in the tree, and you know how like trees grow around shit, it's going to have grown around the body, so the skeleton of that body is going to be like embedded in the tree with its arms up, so it'll have like a skull and arms and rib cage coming out of the tree, and that's going to look fucking crazy weird. So this cult is going to revere this tree as some kind of god, and they'll be dancing around it, singing and stuff. Gun Viking will come along, fuck all these people up, and be like, get away from my fucking tree, you cunt. And then Gun Viking will go up to the tree, and there'll be some like glowing energy connection between him and the tree, because they're connected by this energy. And there'll be a portal. The tree will sort of open into this portal, and then Gun Viking will go through the portal, and you'll find out where the person in the tree came from. The alternate sort of future dimension that this person came from in the tree, which is the origin of Gun Viking, Gun Viking's power. Gun Viking, he wouldn't be Gun Viking without this tree, this alternate dimension energy. So Gun Viking will get warped back or forward or wherever to that other dimension, and maybe learn something of how he became Gun Viking. And I've got a really good idea for how that's all going to look and how I'm going to draw it and what's going to happen in that place. It's going to be really, really good. Like, it's going to be really good anyway, but as a follow-up, follow-on, as a continuation of the Gun Viking story, it's going to be really good. So I'm excited to get that done. But like I say, it probably won't be until like... I'd love to start it at like the start of the new year, because that would just make sense. Like, hey, it's a new year, let's fucking do some more Gun Viking. But it depends on, if I'm working on other things, if I've, got commissions and stuff going, because I need to focus on money before I spend months working on Gun Viking. We'll see how it goes, I guess. And like I say, my moods haven't been great, so I've been slacking and I'm irritated with myself for it, but that's just part of depression. See, I'm annoyed with myself, but I've been slacking on the whole like how to draw comics book. I've got the next couple of pages because I said before I was just going to finish the first chapter, which is a very, very short chapter, so I only need to do a couple more pages. I've got the pages sort of roughed out. I just need to draw the illustrations and write the words and put it together. I know what the pictures and words are going to be. I just need to produce them. And that's been a good few weeks. I wanted, and I could have, and that's why I'm annoyed with myself, I could have easily had it done by the end of last month. But it just didn't happen that way. Which is, that's just how it goes sometimes. That's how it goes sometimes, if you're having good days. But if, you're dealing with your own internal demons and shit, then, things get harder, don't they? So I'm fully able to get that done at some point, and I will get that chapter finished, put up for everyone on my Patreon, not just subscribers, but it will be available to download for everybody, because I'm going to try to do some sort of funding, a Kickstarter, a GoFundMe or something, for the book. So the first chapter will be there with maybe some other artwork and stuff to go with it, just to show what the book is basically going to be. And then if I can get funding, partly for printing and partly for my time for making it, so I can hopefully spend at least a couple of months just making it without having to worry about paying bills and stuff. But yeah, that's all sort of down the line. We'll see how that all goes. So that's plans. That's, I do have things I'm working on. I'm working on, I'm not necessarily working on, but I've got a few toys people have sent me to customise. One, my good friend Carl, and we're also secret lovers. Shh. This is his toy Noodle, this little lizard. I don't know if I've shown it. I've shown it on Instagram, I think. He cast me, just for me, a one-off version of this, of a rich, like clear, almost amber, rich yellow, like a piss yellow, basically, about this big, which is sort of standard size that he makes them at. And it's in a nice box and everything. It's such a nice fucking thing. Fuck. I'll be right back. I don't have it on display because I don't want it to get all fucky. But look at that. That's so fucking nice, man. That's really, really nice. If you hold it up to sunlight, it looks gorgeous. But he cast this one-off just for me, which I was so, so happy with. I want to display it, but it will just get dusty and shitty. And that's a little version which glows in the dark. So I've got a few this size in matte black that I'm going to customise, which would be cool. Yeah, that's so cool. Just his little lizard, and he has loads of other people customise them and do cool stuff with them as well. Do different sculpts and things. I've also got a few of these blanks, but with magnetic arms and a head that you can take off, which is quite cool. So I might try to utilise that. Dave Sculpts is the guy who makes these, which I really like. I like the chunkiness of them. This is a really nice, just chunky thing, and I like that. I like the chunkiness of the skull. See, look, it's he's all got skin, but his head's peeled back to reveal his skull. That was quite a fun one. So I've got those two, a few of each of those, and something else that's a secret project that I'm working on with another guy, Moonjug Official on Instagram, which I hope to get to soon. I've got things to do. I've got a couple more commissions I'm working on as well. This arrived. The pinkest pink. I also got this from the same people ages ago. The blackest black. it's like, it's not quite Vanta Black, because that's like, for one thing, it's, you know, a trademarked thing by whoever, but it's also Vanta Black. It's like a chemical compound. It's not even a paint. It has to be applied in a special, like, contained area with masks and shit. Whereas this is acrylic paint. It's a super matte black. They use super flat, super matte, ultra pigmented acrylic paint, non-toxic. It also, this one smells like black cherries, which is really cool. But yeah, that Culture Hustle Stuart Semple, they make like super colours, like the black. They make the pinkest pink, the greenest green. And you won't be able to see on camera quite how pink this is, but it's like super luminous, like high toxic neon pink. So we'll have some fun with that. I've got a couple of ideas for videos to make with this. And that might be cool as well, because they are advertising this stuff, because they've just made a newer version of this pink, an even pinker pink. So if I can get a video out soon and tag it and everything, maybe it'll catch on. People will find it and go, wow, this guy Ewan's really talented and funny. How brilliant. Yeah, so there's stuff, man. I've got stuff. This comic to be out eventually soon. Book. There's more Gun Viking plans. That's what I was going to say. So I got so much shit, and I haven't even really gotten to half of it. So I have that. So there will be 2 Gun Viking books, which will more or less be the Gun Viking tale, plus the one-off issue I want to make of mostly single panel pages, splash pages, whatever, showing 1 page for each year between him as a child, first finding the gun and everything, to him as you know him as Gun Viking. So 20 years, 20 pages. That would be a really neat, like, one-off thing. So that will be the Gun Viking books officially. But I also want to do I don't know what you'd call it, like a Gun Viking collection, but involving other people, because there's been some really cool, like, I don't know, fan art or whatever of Gun Viking, and there's quite a few people who have some really good ideas, and I do have a few ideas of, like, Gun Viking, just short stories that are just a couple of pages long, or 6 to 10 pages long, just short little Gun Viking stories that could be told in between and before the official Gun Viking books. So it'd be really cool to do some stuff like that. Maybe a couple of, like, 1 or 2 page comics, some slightly longer, some shorter, a bunch of pin-ups, bunch of cover paintings and drawings and stuff from loads of other people. Some of my work, mostly other people's work. Some written by me, some written by other people. Like a whole book of just that, like a Gun Viking group project book, to get other people involved with. I think that would be a really cool addition to, like, the Gun Viking library or whatever. And there's a lot of other people I think would really enjoy that, because quite a lot of people have said, I'd love to do a variant cover or a pin-up or just something Gun Viking related, and I'd love to have people involved. But this first book that's been out especially, and the next one, I think they're very much my own sort of, like, my babies, my own personal pet projects that I want to be like my books. I don't really want to have them, it sounds shitty, but I don't want to have them crowded with other people's work. The whole point is it's me making a comic that I want to make, and I want it to look a certain way, and I want to produce it as a book that's mine. So I'll get that done, those 2.25 books or whatever. Then, in the future, after that, have fun with other people, like involve other people, other artists, to get some really cool, Gun Viking group work done. It'll be really fun to do, I think. And that's always something I've wanted to do, because people, like I say, I've seen some really impressive artwork from people based on gun Viking. So I've wanted to use that art because it's a shame to just, post it on Instagram and then forget about it. I really do want to utilize that artwork that people are creating. So that's always been a plan, but it's just sort of figuring out the right format for it, because I don't want to just stick it into a gun Viking book willy-nilly, like whatever. So it'll be really cool to have a proper book including all of that sort of stuff. And there's something I'm really good at doing, which is someone noted it that I did that with the whole burger party thing, that I explained the concept of the burger party again and again and again, and they were like, we understand the concept, Ewan, we get it, you don't need to fucking go on and on and on, which is fair. But anyway, England won, eh? Hey, football's coming home.